video was made possible by EA Game Changers.
Hey y'all, it's the Cute Coffee Gal, and I am so delighted to be back for our new year with the Decades Challenge. A super special thanks go out to EA and the Game Changers for giving me early access to the new Tiny Home Stuff Pack. How exciting is this? Tiny Home Stuff Pack? Tiny Stuff Pack. I think Tiny Home, Tiny House. Tiny House Stuff Pack. Get it together, Lindsay. Anyways, so that's what we're doing today is we're going to start playing with this new pack, and I actually was really excited about the timing because where we're headed with our Decades Challenge, we're about to need a tiny house, and so this was very well timed. I will kind of get into the ins and outs of where we are and where we left things off. But in the meantime, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up and make sure that if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel down below. It is a New Year's resolution of mine to be more regular with uploads. I know that several people have been requesting it. As all of you know, this is not my full-time job. I actually have a full-time job and I also have a part-time job. And so between those two things, things just got real crazy at the end of the year. Yeah, it's, as I'm recording this, it's January 18th and I still have my Christmas tree up, if that gives you any indication of just how nutty things have been. So, yeah, so there you go. Also, before we get too far into the game, I did want to make sure that I, started off the year by saying that we are still trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on my channel, and I am going to be doing a giveaway for not one, but 2 packs. I will be giving away both Island Living as well as Strangerville when I hit 1,000 subscribers. I'm like right at 900 right now, so we're just like so close I can taste it. So if you haven't subscribed, please do help me get over that hump. I have been trying to hit 1,000 subscribers for a while now, and I know that we can do it. So that is my pitch for that. So anyway, where I have started, so I've loaded up the tiny house pack into my game, but I haven't actually looked at anything yet. I will be doing an update to the Decades Challenge rules, but on a first glance, I think probably the only big thing that I can tell is when were Murphy beds invented, and the answer is like the 1910s. And so that's something that will be available very early on, definitely available by this point in the challenge. We'll hop in and we'll see. There may be other things that I don't know about yet because I haven't played, but that's as far as I can tell, that's going to be the only real update at this point. So yeah, it as asking would I like to place a tiny home now. So I think that this is probably an EA pre-made, which to be perfectly honest, y'all know I'm not a big builder. I think that sounds great. So let's go ahead, place this lot in the world. Let's see. Tiny home starter. Where could it go? Oh, and my wall is full. Of course it is. So I was hoping to be able to put this lot in Brychester, but I honestly haven't played with any of these spaces at all yet. I think these are the 2 universities, right? Yeah, Brychester and Foxbury. Okay, so the space in the center is kind of like the neighborhood that services both universities, and that is what I had in mind. So how big are these lots? Okay, so this is actually a bar. Can't place since it's too small. Okay, so we do need... Oh, the library looks like it's highlighted in green. Are these others also too small? Pick a larger lot or select place lot and edit. How big of a lot do we need? Do I have the information? No, it's just saying place tiny home starter. Well, that's kind of annoying. Where is Newcrest? How big of a space is this thing? So it's a 30 by 20. It'll fit on a 30 by 20. Isn't there a 20 by 20 somewhere? That's what these are. Okay. The 20 by 20s are too small, but the 30 by 20s are not. So how big are those other ones? Good gracious. This one is university housing. So I was trying to avoid going into these particular neighborhoods. Okay, maybe I just can't place here because... No, it's saying too small. Okay, give me a second. Let me find a place to put this thing. Okay, so the deal is that both of these lots right here are 20 by 15s. The tiny house starter lot is a 20 by 30, but I went and I placed it in Newcrest and counted the entire back 15, like the whole back half of the lot is all terrain. It's just empty. So the tiny house is actually going to fit on these lots right here. I just got to figure out which one I want to bulldoze. So who is in here? The elderberries. They're both old people, and they have a teen, it looks like. Is that a teen? Yeah. And then this house, which just looks like a crazy mishmash of people. Who all is in here? We've got an adult. Is this an adult? A young adult, maybe? Another young adult. Another young adult. No, this is like... I don't know who all these people are. And then like 2 straight up babies. This may be really mean, but I'm going to evict this family. I'm like, I don't know what y'all's deal is. Y'all are going. Goodbye. Oh, I didn't mean to go in and edit. Hold on. All right, evict household. Yes, we're evicting this Carson household. And then I am going to bulldoze the lot completely. We'll go and build on it, and we'll do it that way because I'll have to place the lot carefully to get that back half off. Okay, so while I'm doing all of this, let me kind of catch you up on where we're at with the Decades Challenge. So if you'll recall in the last part, Betty was, she'd moved into the city and she enrolled in college. And so that's kind of where we left her, is that she had enrolled in college. Her new boyfriend, Leroy, is somebody that she met in the military. And he lived in, let's see, we want that furnished. Yes, we want to replace the lot already in build mode. Okay, let's see how I can line this thing up. Yeah, see, this is going to fit perfectly. Yep, just like that. And so they, oh yeah, this mailbox is crazy. So they live next door to each other, which is absolutely adorable. And they were coworkers in the military. That's how they met in the first place. So they're still together, going well. You'll also remember that with the university update, there were significant changes to what time looks like. I actually think I'm just going to leave this alone for now, and we will update the furnishings to make sure they're decades appropriate when the people that I'm moving into here will be moving into here. So I'm just going to leave this alone for now and hop back into Betty's apartment. So with the university update, the Decades Challenge had a significant revamp in how time works in order to make it work with the university system. And I did mention that as a result of that, where previously a year was 2 sim days, now a year is 8 sim days. So it takes a long time for us to go through everything in the game. And so I did play some off screen, and I will probably be doing that from now on, because it's just going to take a while for us to get through things if I record everything. So when we left, Betty had just enrolled in school. She's actually in her final term now. So I will hop on in. You will notice she has different roommates. So the other drama from the last part was that her roommate Sandra ran off and got married. She's a beatnik, and she just went and did that. But her roommate Judith, who was another coworker of hers from the military, did still live with her, and she lived with her for another couple of terms. Then Judith ran off and got pregnant. I'm not even sure who the baby daddy is. She's in some random house now by herself with a child, and there's not a spouse with her. So I don't know how that happened or what's going on, but clearly Betty just has an issue with picking friends who are a little free with themselves, is I guess what that was about. So Betty actually lived here in the apartment by herself for a while. I'd say a couple of terms that she was in here just by herself and paying the rent by herself, which was, it was probably good for her to have a chance to be by herself in the city a little bit. And here, I'm going to go ahead and press play for us here. But just recently in the term that is just now starting for school, which is Betty's last term, and here you got her class schedule. Let's see. It is, okay, so it's Saturday morning, so we actually are doing good time-wise because they are not going to be going to school for the next couple of days. But Betty actually is now living with 2 new roommates, and they're her sisters. So if you'll remember, we've got Louise, who is actually her stepsister. And so Louise was Anna and Dawn's daughter, who is the same age as Susan, where she is right here. Susan is Betty's biological sister. So Betty and Susan were siblings. Their mother married Anna's father, and Anna actually has an older brother who we'll get to Roy in a minute. And then she had a younger brother, Leland. And then shortly after they got married, Dawn and Olivia had another child, Dan. So we've got Daniel and Leland are both children, and they're still living at home. The 2 fresh young adults here are Susan and Louise. They're living here in the city with their big sister, Betty, which actually, I think I moved them in like a day and a half ago. Oh, someone is at the door. Who is this? This is Willie. He is roommates with Leroy, so he lives right across the hall. And I think he's just like weirdly staring. I'll listen to his complaint. We're being too loud. Sorry, Willie. So the sisters are actually getting along incredibly well now that they're all living together. If you'll remember, Anna was kind of this wonderful, lovely pillar of the community. And it was kind of a little bit of a shock to the social system when Olivia got with her husband so shortly after her death. Olivia was kind of her best friend, and so they kind of came together in that grief. And it's something that Louise struggled with because she was old enough that she very much idolized her mother and remembered her very clearly, and had a hard time with the fact that Olivia was now in her life. So I wasn't sure how this roommate situation would go because Louise has always been a little bit standoffish with our girls. But actually, they're getting along so well now that they're living here. I think that they just needed to get out from the crazy family environment, let me pause for just a moment. So what happened at home? And I do have a couple of screenshots, so I will share those with y'all. So as you know, Roy, he's younger than Betty, but he's older than everybody else. Has always been a troublemaker. He's a stinker. That's what he is. He is manipulative and mean, and he's not a good guy. He's kind of a jerk. The older he gets, the worse he gets. And if y'all recall, he does have a girlfriend, or did have a girlfriend, I should say. Now she's more than that. Joan, who is like total like airhead. Absolutely just in it for the money, in it for, wanting people to talk nice about her, has no desires in life other just to be well liked. She has no goals, nothing she wants to achieve other than for people to like her for how much money she has. So they were actually a very well suited couple. So what happened is that Roy got his teenage girlfriend pregnant, like at the end of high school. And so they got married when she was like literally about to go into labor. I have a picture here on the screen for you. So this is their wedding. This was Joan and Roy getting married. And it was one of those things where Roy's like, I got this girl pregnant, but do I really have to marry her? And his dad was like, yes, you have to make an honest woman out of her. You have to marry her. And he's like, oh, fine. So that happened, and then they literally went from the church to the hospital to have the baby, which weirdly enough, here we have in the delivery room, Uncle Paul delivered the baby, which I just was really entertained by the fact that that's who showed up to deliver the baby. So if you'll remember, Paul, his brother Joseph is the father of Betty and Susan. And so their Uncle Paul still lives on the family farm with his wife and their kids. So the farm's still in the family, and he's like the county doctor. But apparently he was working a shift in the hospital that day. So anyway, that's what's going on that front of things. So they actually, let's see, can I pull up a family tree? Because I kind of want to say it was a boy. Was it a boy? Let's see. All right, here is... Oh, Dix. I keep calling him Don because he's based on Don Draper. That's why, in case y'all hadn't already figured that out. Dick Swanson. All right, so here we have Roy. Roy is married to Joan. And then they had a son, Roy Jr. And actually because this all happened so fast, like he's enrolled in school. Let's see if he actually takes it seriously. And Joan is not doing anything. And they're actually living at home with Dick and Olivia. That's what the situation is right now. So that was kind of like all happening right when both Susan and Louise were waiting to hear back if they got into school. And so they were just really excited to get out of the house. So all of that aside, back in the city where things are a little bit better, Betty, our heir, the one we are going to be following throughout all of this, is doing incredibly well. She is almost done with university, as I mentioned. She has 3 days left in the term, and this is her final 2 classes. She finally got to take an herbalism course in her final term of school, so she's very excited about that. And as you can see, her GPA is an A-. She has been doing incredibly well. She's going to be graduating with honors, I'm assuming. Well, she's in like the honors degree, so I haven't actually graduated a sim yet. We'll find out how that goes. And then Leroy, of course, let me pull up his picture for you here. Leroy right here. Oh goodness, actually we could invite him to hang out, couldn't we? Invite to hang out at current lot. He's just across the hallway. So Leroy, as you can see, their relationship is going extremely well. So he is currently also enrolled in school. I love how it doesn't say what his career or his education is, because she clearly knows what those things are. He's still working in the military, so he is still working his job and also going to school full time. It has been incredibly stressful for him. So the fact that they have been able to maintain their relationship with both of them trying to work very ambitiously towards what they want in life is really commendable for the two of them. So he is actually attending school at the other university at Foxbury. He also wanted to study history, the same as what Betty is studying. Betty is doing it because she wants to become a judge, and the same major also leads to a military officer career. And so that's what Leroy's thinking he wants to do right now. He's kind of in the back of his mind at some point thought that he might want to be a professor, but at the moment he is on this military track and he's still serving, and he is like working real hard to get through school. He is having to take out student loans in order to be able to make that happen. So all of that pulled together means that he is just going to funnel this straight into his military career, and that's what he's going to do, at least for now. And they are they're soulmates. They enjoy each other's company very, very much. So we're actually at the point in their relationship where Leroy has invited Betty to go out to dinner tonight, and he said to dress up and look really nice. Don't get real fancy, because they're not like going to a fancy restaurant or something like that, but just to take it as a serious outing. So Betty does not know at all what that's supposed to mean. But there you go. So that is what they are up to tonight. They are kind of, there he is right there in the doorway. They are kind of nervous at this point. The parents still don't know about Leroy, and actually the sisters didn't really know about him until a couple of days ago when they moved in. Let me be checking to see, what is everybody doing homework-wise? Do you people need to be doing any homework? Take final exam, okay, so you're actually doing pretty good. Yeah, so what are their majors? Louise is majoring in culinary arts, and you can see that her little elective is flower arranging. The way that I'm kind of seeing it, oh my gosh, Uncle Richard is here. Look at this. Uncle Richard is here. He has been so much trying to get in touch with Betty for like years. At some point, she's going to give in and be curious enough about her uncle. Anyway, sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. So the things that I have got Louise doing, what I kind of envisioned for her, which is not one of the majors that actually exists in The Sims, but would be very appropriate for her, is that I think she's kind of like majoring in home economics, if that makes sense. So she's doing the cooking, her flower arranging, like there could potentially be something about cleaning. I could very much see that, we do know, though we don't have a time frame for it, but we do know that there is going to be a Sims knitting pack at some point. If there was a knitting class, she would probably enroll in that. So really thinking about kind of all of that homekeeping stuff. Is there a sink that is broken or something? Yes. Let's just go ahead and replace that. That is kind of what I see for her. And then Susan actually came on an athletic scholarship to college. And so she is a member of the soccer team. So kind of different and interesting for a girl, especially in that time. And she is, as we always know, she has always been like kind of a sciencey person, kind of a smart, brainy person in her own special little way. And so she is actually working on a biology degree. And so she went to Foxbury because that's where the honors program is for biology. And does she need to be doing, she needs to do like all of her homework because she's been at practice is what that's all about. What is she reading right now? This is, it does not tell me. This is anatomy. And when is that class? Okay, 2 days. That's good. She can do that. Yeah. So that's what they're all doing. But why was I talking about them? Because I was talking about Leroy. So when they got here for their first day of school and like moved in and everything, Betty was like, oh, and also I haven't mentioned him, but I actually am seeing somebody pretty seriously. And they wanted to hear all of the gossip because they're, fresh out of high school, very excited to hear about this very romantic life that their older sister has been leading and hasn't been sharing with them. And then they actually met Leroy for the first time. And in case you had not picked up on this, it is the late 1950s right now. And Leroy is not white and Betty is white. Why is he not showing up on this screen? Is he out in the hallway? Let's see. He may just be out in the hallway because sometimes when he's out in the hallway, it won't show up on the little thing. Nope, that's Willie. I don't know where he is right now. Anyways, so yeah, this is actually an interracial relationship. Which at the time was extremely taboo, actually was not legal for people to be married from different races at this specific point in time, though we are about to switch into the 1960s, and from the Decades Challenge rules, they will be able to get married once we hit 1960. But yeah, she has not necessarily that she's been keeping him a secret. She and Leroy have done a lot of talking. Here he is right here on her screen. This is Leroy. They have done a lot of talking about this. They both know that it's a really challenging thing. And that does not in any way, shape, or form change how they feel about each other and the fact that they do want to be with each other. And they know that that might wind up being a hard thing. They just haven't figured out how to go about saying something. And now their hands kind of been forced because now that Betty's sisters are here, it's not like she was going to hide her boyfriend at that point. So they definitely are still neighbors. They actually, are very much kind of old-fashioned and traditional and very fitting with the 1950s in that they've never spent the night together or anything like that. So it's one of those things where like this is the absolute picture perfect relationship that her mother could have hoped for her, except for the fact that there's this one detail that at the time was extremely challenging. So I went back and forth about whether I included a storyline like this in the Decades Challenge, but to be perfectly frank, I think that that's a part of our history that's kind of ugly that is still a part of our history. And so as much as I hate the fact that that is how things were back then, I also don't want to ignore that there were really courageous couples like this who despite what society said, they still loved each other because they should be allowed to love each other. That's just the way it should be. So, so that's actually something that will be coming up very soon is that we need to have a meeting with the parents. Now that the cat's kind of out of the bag. What is she doing here? Oh, she's cleaning. That's lovely. She needs to be getting ready. Oh, gosh, it's 7:30 already. Okay, hold on. Let's get her ready for her date with Leroy because he said that he wanted to come and pick her up and take her somewhere special, and she's scrubbing the toilet right now. Okay, so I've got Betty in here. I'm actually adding this as a cold weather outfit for her because it is cold outside, and I don't want her to keep switching into her coat, and then we can't actually have her outfit on. So this is the new stuff that's been added for full body for tiny living. I'm wondering, Does it come in other patterns? Yeah, I don't know that this is decades appropriate quite yet. I might could go for this in the 60s, but we're not quite there yet. So let's look and see what else we got. Because I really would like to use some of the new stuff if I could. And these things are starred, which makes me think they be new. Okay, hold on. Where are we? Where are we? Tiny living right here. Okay, new things. Definitely not a crop top. That's a cute little jacket, but again, not really decades appropriate. This sweater will be great when we hit the 70s, but we're not there yet. But I do think that we could easily say that this nice turtleneck would work. So what colors does it come in? Ooh, the blue's pretty. I might go with that blue, actually. Betty likes blues and reds. Oh, the red's cute on her. Okay, so we'll do that, and then let's see what the bottoms are doing. Not the cold weather. I just want to see the tiny living stuff. Okay, we've got this kind of corduroy looking skirt. Not really 50s. Actually, those pants are not bad. And these will be fantastic once we get just a smidge further along. Can we pull this off? Does this look 50s enough? I mean, obviously not with these shoes. Does this come in other... Because slacks were definitely a thing they were starting to do. And if she's, you know, at university and has served in the military, I actually think that that might work. I think that might work. Okay, let's change her shoes, though. Do we have new tiny living shoes? I don't recall hearing anything about shoes, so we probably... Yeah, we don't. Okay, that's totally fine. Let's go with... sneakers, maybe? She's definitely a pretty big sneaker gal. Converse. What about that? It's not very nice. He did tell her to look nice. Let's see, does she have like some loafers or something we could do? Where are... No, I don't want lace-ups. Well, it's cold. Let's look at boots. That'll be good. We'll look at boots. How about... Yeah. Oh, the wedge heels. That would not have been a thing. That would probably not have been a thing either. Okay, give me a second. I'm actually going to... Nope, not a second. I'm going to make a decision and be done with it because this is not the content you signed up for. Those are not appropriate either. These, no. Why can't I find anything that looks like the right decade? Darn. Can we pull those off? I think we could pull those off. Is there a brown? All right, that's what she's going with. I know it's not fantastically decades appropriate, but it'll get the job done. So, okay, that's what Betty's wearing for her date with Leroy. I'm actually gonna go jump into his household and play as him so that he can invite her on the date. All right, so basically what Leroy wanted to do was to just have an evening away from class, away from work, away from all of the other people in their lives, away from their noisy neighbors, just to have quiet time outside in this lovely little park over in Willow Creek and just like spend 5 minutes together, which is actually really romantic because they are both incredibly driven people. They both work really, really hard on all of their studies. He is still working his tail off trying to do his job at the same time. And this just seemed like such a better idea than like some fancy restaurant, which, you know, money's tight, so that's hard. And she gets that. That's not why she loves him. She loves him because of who he is. And here they are just able to enjoy each other's company, talking about what it is that they want for their life, what they kind of have hopes and dreams for, and how they want their life to move forward at this point. So you can probably figure out where this is headed, but that's what they're talking about right now. They are being so precious. And it's starting to rain, which is actually really romantic. They were like kissing in the rain. It was so sweet. I love that interaction. All right, here it goes. Oh, she's so excited. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, I love it. Yay! Yay, Betty and Leroy. Ah, so exciting. Okay, they're engaged now. I was really excited to do that. So that is clearly where things are headed for them. They do still have to finish school, but I think that, you know, they're gonna be fine. Where is this offer massage? Because I want to, like, get all of the things done on the date. So Betty is in her last term, as I mentioned, and actually is only like a few days away from finishing. Leroy started a little bit after her because of work stuff, and he's probably going to take a little bit longer to finish just because, again, work stuff. Let's actually see, where is he at? So he has finished 8 of 12. He's taking 2 right now, so he'll have to finish this term, and then he'll have at least 1 more term if he takes 2 classes at the same time. He's actually taking an herbalism class this time around, too, because she was like, come on, you know, you want to study it with me? And he was like, all right, fine, whatever. Like, even though we're at different schools, we can study that together. That's fine. And you will notice that he is doing history like she is, but he did not get into the honors program. And to be perfectly honest, the other school is a bit more expensive. And again, back to what we were talking about before, not everyone who was able to academically go to school was able to socially go to school. And so I would imagine that the really fancy pants school that Betty got into before she ever even met Leroy may not have been accepting Black students at that time. So he is at the other university, but I mean, like, he's rocking it out too. He's got an A GPA as well. And he's going to come out an officer. So, I mean, like, I think good things are in his future. Even though it is really not fair that he had to start off with, you know, several steps back. Of course that's not fair. So yeah, anyways, all that to say, he's got a little bit more time left to go because he's kind of having to go at it a little bit more slowly. But that's totally fine. So yeah, now that they're engaged, they're going to have to meet the parents, and that's going to be the next big thing that we do. Let's see. How long have I been recording for? Should we meet the parents in this part? Y'all want a really big juicy part? We'll have a really big juicy part. So it's, yeah, Sunday, 1 a.m. Guess what they're doing after church tomorrow? They're going to meet the parents. All right, so there is a dinner party starting up over at the Swanson household. We've got Olivia's here making a ham dinner. We've got Dick setting the table. Here is Roy being Roy. Leland is sitting down here. Oh, and now Leroy has arrived. They decided to have this dinner party because they heard that Betty had gotten engaged. And now they're a little confused because Leroy is the person who has come to the party. So I don't think that they will be mean to him necessarily, with maybe the exception of Roy, who is an absolute jerk. That is the weirdest technique for basting I have ever seen. That's something special you got there going, Olivia. So it looks like he's trying to, you know, get in good with his future mother-in-law, washing his hands before dinner. Very smart. Oh, that looks really delicious. I actually wouldn't mind a ham dinner. That would be nice. So let's actually have her call everyone to the meal. Let's see. Call to grand meal. And let's see, what is Joan up to? Joan has to pee. Yeah, by the way, look at this. Joan is pregnant again. So, Miss Scout meeting. So Joan is already pregnant again. This is little Leroy or Roy Jr. What is Susan eating? Is she eating breakfast? I don't even know where that came from. Where is Betty? She does not appear to be in the household, but I did invite her to come. Oh, there she is. I just missed her coming in the door. So Louise is here. Betty is here. So, yeah, here's the whole, guess who's coming to dinner, literally, is what's happening here. Not awkward at all, I am sure. So, yeah, this might be a happy family memory, or it might not. So it looks like Olivia is being quite nice and just kind of staying quiet. You've got Dick is kind of trying to carry the conversation with Leroy. So young man, what is it that you do? How did you meet my daughter? Even though he's not really your dad. I know that Susan and Betty both feel a lot of loyalty to their own father, and while they are incredibly grateful that Dick took their family in, and they are very grateful that he loves their mother, they have never really felt like he was their father, if that makes sense, which I know is not the case in all families that are blended like this, but that's kind of the situation in this particular family. I think that they were a little frustrated because they did take after their mother in coloring, which also happens to be the same coloring, the black hair that Dick has. And so I think that people often thought that they were his children, and they felt like that was really frustrating for them because of their dad. So anyway, all of that aside, conversation seems to be flowing well enough. Dick does look a little bit like he's kind of like grinning and bear it through this whole thing. So, Olivia's just like, how nice, dear. I'm so glad. Oh, Miss Jean's like, I know what's happening here. She is like, I ain't gonna say it. Nope, not my place. Don't have any desire to get in the middle of the crazy people. So Dick seems to have kind of said, yes, well, very, very, very good, sir. Why don't we come into the other room and why don't you talk about your intentions for my daughter? Let's see, what are they up to? Oh, and Joan has gone into labor. Of course she has. So Dick is collecting himself by the chores board. Not exactly sure what he wants to do there. Yeah, so he and Olivia have a lot to talk about, I think. But it went well enough. That is good. Nobody was, there was a lot of awkwardness, but nobody was outright mean or anything like that. Probably because you are trying to deal with taking your wife to the hospital. Why don't you guys go to the hospital? Actually, that was not a bad idea. Where is it? More choices. Have baby at the hospital. He's like running around in a panic. Yes. Send the two of them together. And I'm gonna, yes, that's just fine. I am going to have, all of our girlies go back home. Leroy go back home. And, we'll see how things go. So I get back from the hospital and these two are like out in the front lawn having an argument. Well, not the front lawn, like the side where the basketball court is. And it looks like Olivia has like gone and spoken with Dick and has come out to let Betty know kind of what their thoughts are, which is that it's wonderful that you love this man and we are happy that that is something that you have found, but you know that this is not socially acceptable. It's something that we can't support. And Susan's like, what's going on over here, guys? It's not something that we can support. We're sure that he is a wonderful person, but this is not something we're going to be able to go with you on. It's just too hard. It'll be too hard for any potential children that you might have. And unfortunately, that's just where things stand. And of course, obviously, Betty was not happy with that. And so the end result is that they have decided that they're going to pull their financial support of Betty. And she's going to have to move out of her apartment, which was not something she was expecting to hear from her parents. But that is what they have said. So she will be moving out immediately. I would imagine that she and Leroy are actually probably going to run down to the courthouse and elope. Because it is, as of now, it's the 1960s. They are legally allowed to get married. But of course, a big society wedding is not something that would happen. So, yeah, that is where we're headed. So, I will see you with them in their new house. So, you guys, this is the new house for our newlyweds, our newly eloped weds. This is Leroy and Betty Ball's new home. So let's come take a little peek. I'm sure everybody guessed at the beginning of this part that this is where we were headed, but that's what's going on. So let's take a peek inside at their new little tiny home, which, it's the 60s, so they weren't exactly calling these tiny homes. They just were tiny homes. So this is their little spot, and I did do a real quick little, facelift on it, or face down, I guess you could say. I made it look a little more retro. But a lot of this stuff actually, fits in line with the theme anyway, so that was just fine. So they have a teeny tiny little kitchenette. They don't have a stove or anything like that, which, if herbalism is something that Betty's always been really big into, not having a stove is possibly going to be a problem. So it may be that she needs to build a campfire or something like that in the backyard. They've got this little itty bitty little bathroom, no bathtub, just an old shower. This is their bookcase now. And this is their bed now, which is just crazy. So crazy. After that big, luscious apartment that she's been living in for the past, 4 years. They've got this teeny tiny little TV over here in the corner. This is the little desk that they're just going to have to use together to study from. And actually, I forgot to get them. Hold on. Let's see. Put this away. I need to get them a typewriter, or else they're not going to be able to get their work done. I meant to purchase that and I forgot. And that is CC. It's a computer basically that I found online that it looks like a typewriter, and you can actually find the link to that. It's in the Decades Challenge rules, because I knew everybody was going to be wanting to know about that. So I did link to that in the Decades Challenge rules. But it's their first night as newlyweds. So I think it's time to put the bed down. And we will end on this little piece. I hate to watch them, but at the same time, we want to see how the Murphy bed works, don't we? So, it looks like he's struggling with it a little bit. Oh, Leroy. That's not how you wanted your first time to be, Sweet Pea. Let's try again. We got to get the bed down. They got to go to bed tonight. And that is one other thing. Oh, here, pause real quick before I forget. We're in the 1960s now. Birth control is a thing. So let me real quick go over here. I believe that the setting is in MC Command Center under the Woohoo. Let's see. I wrote notes for myself when I discovered it a million years ago. Here we go. Birth control duration. All right. Determine how many hours the birth control buff will last. So if you take birth control, how long will it last? I would say 24 hours, right? Because you take it every day. That makes sense. So you're good for 24 hours, but if you forget to take it, you got a problem. All right. So now a game restart is required for this setting change to take effect. Okay. I will have to reset then. Let's see. All moods birth control. What does that mean? Will always be available rather than only when they're flirty. Oh, yeah. We definitely want her to always have the option of doing that, even if she's not feeling flirty. So we've got autonomous woohoo is enabled. Autonomously try for a baby is enabled. Extreme woohoo. I don't even know what that is. Oh, they woohoo more often. Yeah, we don't necessarily need that to be the thing. Okay, so we now have birth control in the game, I believe. So, but it looks like I am going to have to restart the game in order to make that happen. So for this first time, we will just go ahead and have them woohoo instead of try for a baby. Yes, I do have risky woohoo turned on a very, very teeny tiny percentage. So we'll just really hope that that's what happens here. But then she'll have to remember moving forward. Okay, the bed came down correctly that time. That's great. Oh, look at the cute. There was like a deer in the daytime, and now it's a wolf in the nighttime. That's adorable. All right, so let's not try for a baby. Let's just have them woohoo and call it a night because they both have class in the morning. And that is where I am going to end things. Thank you so much for watching. I know it's been a really long part, but there was a lot that we had going on. So I am excited to kind of be moving into this next phase for Betty. Where did they go? Oh, he had to go outside because there's not enough space in the house to ask her this question. Oh my gosh. They can't. Can they not get in the bed? Let's see. Hold on. Maybe I have to move the desk further over. Let's see. Can they get in the bed now? Let's have them woohoo with Betty. Let's see if this works. Tiny living, y'all. Tiny living. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm excited to get to this next phase with them. This is where they're gonna be as they finish school and start their careers. And potentially never have the opportunity to woohoo because I can't figure out how to make the bed work. I will keep working on that. But yes, thank you for watching. Please give the video a big thumbs up. Make sure that you have subscribed to my channel. Don't forget about that giveaway that I've got going on. So subscribe, tell all your friends to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next part. Thanks so much, y'all. Bye.